Oh my goodness. I am so pleased to be here. Oh, I have a red heart. It's really interesting because I was sitting there and I realized that it was said by someone, and I took it to heart, which maybe wasn't a good thing to do because they said I talk too long. So I got busy writing my talk and then cutting it all apart so I could keep it short. And I'm driving down here this morning and I'm listening to Eckhart Tolle on my CDs in the car, and I got a whole new kind of mission statement. And then when I first started, it's really interesting, when I first started giving talks, I had little like note cards with 3 points I wanted to make, and I just did my thing. And that seemed to be really good, and I loved it, and I was getting good feedback. And now I have 7 typewritten pages. How excited are you all? Oh, let's see. I need to have this up here a little more. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there you go. And then also when I first started giving talks, I did more with the musician and making sure the daily word and everything aligned, you know. And now I've discovered that it all weaves together in such a beautiful way that I don't feel so inspired to do that. So Clara and I saw each other yesterday at the memorial, and we had about a 3-minute talk. And I said, "Oh, it sounds good," you know, because it just brings in different things, and I can think in my own little mind, and we're all one, and we're creating all of this together. So that was really exciting. And then Marilyn, well, I don't care what Marilyn does when she's up here, you know. It's just wonderful to listen to her and see her sparkle. So today we're talking about, she was talking about flexibility, and ceremonies are a little bit about structure, but there is a flexibility within them that is really, really important. So the mission that I got this morning on the way down here is to do a little ceremony with you, which we'll do in a little bit. But so I'm going to use, I also, in the process of working on my talks, I bought a online class on giving presentations. Okay? So I'm going to give you my introduction, which is at least be good for a laugh. So, and the other thing is that next Saturday is my 1-year anniversary of being married. And so I'm trying to get used to using a new name, but because I've been kind of building a business under another name, I haven't really gone there. So let me introduce myself. Good morning. I am Suzanne, pause, Eau Claire, pause, Shelley. That's in my class. I am a human being. Now that may not sound like much of an accomplishment, but for many, many years, I was a human doing. You all know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so my talks are normally around tools of transformation. Rosella kind of gave me that heading a few years ago, and I realized, boy, everything I talk about and do, I teach at Parks and Rec and do a lot of things, they're really about tools of transformation. And the tool of transformation I like the best is life. And I recently, really in that preparation last year towards the wedding ceremony, I really got the power of ceremonies. And afterwards, I really got the power of ceremonies even further. So they're around us more than we think, ceremonies and rituals. But before I really begin, I want to talk about, for just a minute, about what's happened in your church family since I was here last in January. And I gave a talk then that I was going to give now, and at the end I said, I don't know what I'll talk about in April, and Jamie said, well, we'll come and find out, and here he is. And even with 7 pages, I'm still wondering what I'm talking about. Okay, but, so when I was here in January, think back to January, Daryl had just died. And I was speaking because Rosella had the flu, and Tony still had the flu, okay? But Tony and Rosella's journey had just begun, and it's impacted us all. And yesterday, whether we were there physically or not, we were all at the memorial service. You know, that's a point in time that we all kind of needed to process and get to. And let me tell you, it was a beautiful ceremony because it was very personal and very real and very loving. And oh my gosh, Tony just led a life. I mean, we knew him in a certain way behind his musical instruments and behind Rosella, supporting her all the way. But oh my gosh, that man did amazing things. I actually brought the program, so there's a couple up here if you want to look at them. Anyway, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to see and hear all the people of his life speak and how that unfolded. And of course, I just think we were so fortunate because we got to see a real miracle, and that was the miracle that happened between Tony and Rosella. You know, what a miracle. So we all had to get to that point somehow, however we got there. And now there's a clearing, somewhat of a clearing, and life goes on. So, so other things that happened in the last 4 months. Now, I don't mean to call anybody out. I think this church is small enough that you know a lot of this about each other. And I don't mean to leave anybody out. This is just what I know in passing. But we've had our friend Laurel take a trek down Cancer's Treatment Highway with Kat. Candace got a new knee. Where are you, Candace? Yep. She got a new knee and then she broke her ankle. What? No. Then Scott got a new shoulder. Tracy fell and Bob fell on her. Double what? What? I haven't even heard that story yet, but I can't wait to. And then Rosella resigned because of Tony. And then there are changes on your board. More of you battled the flu and other physical things. Nora retired. Yes. And she's seeing her husband now through hospice. And yet, we all lived a wonderful life also. And we went and bought groceries and walked the dogs and paid the bills, and it rained. And it rained. And it rained. And it rained. We survived the first 100 days with Trump. Whatever that means. Yeah. So, oh my, God bless us one and all is all I can say, and that's it. Yes, God bless us, and where is the sun? Yeah, where is the sun? But each of these events impacted the community as a whole, and I mention them because they are tools of transformation in the process of life itself. And my motto about life, and trying to raise myself up into being that human being instead of a human doing, is use everything. Use everything to raise up. So we have many life experiences ahead of us and ceremonies coming up in the next few months. We have Mother's Day and Father's Day, the Kentucky Derby. I'm from Kentucky. That's one of the rituals we celebrate back there. Weddings, family reunions, summer trips, July 4th. These are celebrations of all kinds, and all of them are a form of some ceremony or ritual, even if they're casual. So this talk really came to life to me, like I said, last year. And so here's the story about David and me. David and I got married last May 6th, and we had been together 14 years. 14 years. And Rosella married us. We wrote the entire ceremony ourselves and all the stuff that went with it. But I thought, because I've been married and divorced a few times, and I thought David and I were there, you know, that I had reached some level that I was striving for, longing for, and wanting, and I was there. So we had no idea that a wedding ceremony was going to transport us down the highway of love as far as it did after 15 years. We had no idea, and yet it did. So here's something about any truly transformational experience. A new vibration takes work. After you get there, you got to work at it. You want to go back to your comfort zone. You want to slide back into your old mental patterns, your old habits. And you can't. You can't, because something has happened in that ceremony where the light got turned on, and now you can see the pink elephant in the room, even and especially if it's your own pink elephant. The old way is over and done, but the new way hasn't quite settled in. But somehow the power of that ceremony held me steady even as I thrashed around trying my new little wings in this higher light of consciousness. I kept going back to a very specific vision that I had during the ceremony that I had no idea I would have. But there it was. And I kept going back to that vision, and it anchors me in my new perceptions, and it helps me to this day. It was so real. It was like right there, I could touch it. And that has helped me, not just with my relationship with David, but in every area of my life. So ceremonies are powerful. And it's really powerful when we bring ourselves to them consciously. So how do we get away from ceremonies? Well, science came in, and science became the big new all and end all, and religion was seen as a set of circumstances. So science was in, superstitions were out. Even new thought churches jumped on the bandwagon, calling themselves religious science, not new superstitions. Okay, small difference there. And then psychology came along, Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, diving into the bits and pieces of primitive societies, and found the footprints of archetypes in man and his symbols, and they pieced together how our psyches and our brain really work, and unlocked luminous liminal pathways where God lives and transcendence lifts us out of everyday life. But then even psychology got all science-y and resorted to measuring and replicating and reducing and reproducing experiments. And from now that we're free of superstitions and we don't have our inner self quite together and psychological connections, we became disoriented and disassociated, and we were as lost as the tribe wandering through the desert of Israelites. We just wandered for a while, and we're still kind of doing that in a lot of ways. So what do ceremonies do for us? Well, the primitive cultures knew that what they did is connected us not only with God, but with each other. They did them as groups. And religion just kept enacting ceremonies and didn't really educate us on what we were doing. You know, it was like the priests knew. You know, we all went through in our DNA, they say, through the priests were telling us you couldn't read the Bible. You know, you couldn't have your own interpretation. That's huge. And since the Catholics, that we can read Bibles and have our own interpretations, and a unity that you can stand up and talk about it, and we go, yeah, that's part of it too. That is just huge. So we got, I don't know, we just lost interest in all of it. And they seem rigid and full of archaic, I don't know, mumbo jumbo. And maybe we would offend somebody. And besides that, they take too much of her. They're boring, they're too long, they're expensive, they're hard to get to. Geez, yesterday I had to get to Ording. Where is Ording? Well, now I know, and it's a beautiful place. And I don't know, they require uncomfortable clothes and high heels, you know? So the main problem was they were impersonal and held no power for us. So our attention drifted. But, approached in a different way, ceremonies can build a bridge between the worlds of ordinary time and eternity, which we've been singing about in all these beautiful songs. And they can weave our life into the sacred. So here are some really wonderful things specifically that ceremonies do for us. They move us to a new state of being. They mark a point in time we can travel from and back to. So think about a ceremony, and I'm going to call Thanksgiving ceremony, around the table. You know, you never sit down at Thanksgiving that you don't do some storytelling about where were you last year, who was here, what were you doing, what did you eat, oh, you did the potatoes different this time, who's gone from the circle. it marks a point in time where we can go back and then move forward again and remember, oh yeah, we're in a new place now. They're a container. In fact, is the symbol for sanctuary, it looked like it was a circle?
It's a holy place.
Okay. It looked like when you did it, I thought, oh, that looks like a container. And so that's the structure of a ceremony. And it lets us bump up against something and file away at our own encumbrances. As the ceremony itself polishes and clarifies our intentions, and our values, and our focus until our hearts shine. And so another way of thinking that is Advent as we prepare for Christmas, or Lent, which leads us into Easter. It's preparing us. A ceremony helps us hold a new focus. Like I said before, it really helped me hold a new focus of, oh yeah, a wedding is a ceremony of love. I'm in a higher place of love. Oh yeah, I could do that a different way. And it shields us from fragmentation in the process. Where am I? Okay, I did the ceremony, I'm here. Oh, I'm here. It helps us in that way. It creates vitality for our lives as we have these visions and precious moments that we can't quite explain. And the eternal literally touches our own humanity. So we see with new eyes, we hear with new ears, we feel with a new heart. So that's one of the things they bring us. They open up questions, the larger questions about life. And again, it inspires us to do more than walk the dog, get the groceries, pay the bills. And then they also bless all who participate in the ceremony. They bless the participants as well as the witnesses. So everybody that was there yesterday, I'm sure, left feeling truly blessed. I mean, I felt blessed knowing Tony. I felt more blessed knowing Tony afterwards. And I felt blessed by all the beautiful people I didn't even know in his life that were there. It was like, okay, somehow, yeah, okay. It was blessing. And also, if you've already attained a new state through, so think about ceremonies we have. We have a new birth. The baby's in here, and now the baby's out here. And so we have a christening, right? Or we're alive, and now we're not alive. So we have a celebration or a funeral. Or we have some rich interchange of our own. We fall in love with someone, and we want to get married. So it's right and proper to honor those changes. And a lot of times they don't get honored or noticed in the group as a whole. And it's a little bit hard to hold on to that new sense of yourself. So in that way, they're important. In the Bible, even the men changed their names when they had a revelation. Now, women change their names in marriages, But Abraham, if you look through, even the way he spelled his name is like Abraham. Okay, I guess I'm reading about the same guy. Abraham, yeah. When I was younger, it looked like the same name. I had to work my way through that, And then the other part about ceremonies is our inner child loves them. Our inner child totally gets it. We say we perform ceremonies, and we do. The ceremony has a story about it. There's special music and food. There are parades and processions, even if just down the aisle of the church. There are lots of candles and sparkly lights, and they get to play with the adults. Wow, that's fun. That's really fun. It's also nice, just as I say fun, to remember that fun is a transformational experience. And especially after we've had hard times, it's really important and good to go have fun times. So maybe we need some celebrations of fun. Oh, that would be an annual picnic. Let's go have fun together. Just have fun. We're not going to plan anything. We're not going to focus. We're not going to intend. We're just going to eat coleslaw and great desserts and potato salads and get to know each other that way. Because then you bring your potato salad and you find out it's your great-grandmother's and she was German and you didn't know she was German and, we have new connections. So again, ceremonies happen at the intersection between heaven and earth, and doctrine and mystery, and exact preparations and unexpected outcomes. And big, complex ceremonies are no more powerful than smaller, simpler ones. We can and we do turn daily rituals into spiritual practice with mindfulness. So your morning and evening rituals in the bathroom, in the kitchen, getting ready in the morning, getting ready for bed, cleaning up the kitchen, all those things. Walking the dog, we always go this way, and then we turn left, and then he stops and smells that post. I mean, they're kind of rituals, you know? And, yeah, oh yeah, cleaning the litter box. I do have the ritual. Yeah, celebrating the seasons, those are rituals. And we do these rituals our way. And they have personal meaning for us. And we know our best time to meditate or play or work. And that is how they become meaningful and important to us. And we cling to them. If somebody wants us to change them, it's like, oh no, I can't do that. Maybe we're edging into OCD there. But, you know, it gives us a chance to look at, well, what do we want to do, and what is the meaning of this, and why do I do that? Or maybe I could do that different, or wow. It reminds me of that story of the woman who always cut the end of the roast off, you know? And finally her granddaughter, or somebody says, Grandma, why do you do that? And she said, I don't know. And it turned out, she asked her mom, the older cook asked her mom, why do we do that? And she said, oh, the roast didn't fit in the pan. You know? I mean, you know, it makes me laugh because what am I doing like that, right? What are we doing like that? We just started that way and we kept at it. So rituals offer us enough routine to stabilize ourselves and yet the opportunity to have variety and keep us fresh and inspired. And they're like little 2 or 5 pound hand weights. They're preparing us for something bigger. And they keep our attention, keep us, you know, working those muscles on consciousness, on transforming ourselves into being human beings. So what turns an event into a transformational experience or a transformational ceremony? And that's inner and outer preparation. To be powerful, ceremonies ask us to bring our whole selves to them. Like just going yesterday, I wanted to look really nice to honor the occasion. You know, we had to do the GPS and figure out where we're going. We got with friends, that was really wonderful. But we brought our whole selves there. And I realized, also coming down the highway this morning, sometimes we are called to ceremonies to serve, right? We wanted to be there for Rosella. We wanted to be there for her, and that was a service of our hearts. And so sometimes that's what the ceremony is about, is to simply serve. And sometimes, you know, you get an invitation from somebody to something, a wedding or something, you go, why did they invite me? I didn't know I was on close enough to that, you know. That reminds me of when I left US West Direct in Denver and moved up here. They had a going away, well, they announced it or something, I don't know. I had people coming to my little cubicle crying because I was leaving, and I was looking at them going, I didn't know we were that close, you know. It really touched me though, because then I came up here to US West Direct. It was over on Mercer Island. In the first sales meeting, I looked around at this room of perfect strangers, and I thought, wow, some of them are going to be my best friends. And some of them are going to have feelings for me I don't even know they have. Wow, that was kind of powerful and mysterious in that moment. So anyway, we need to bring ourselves to the ceremony, and we do that. When we do that, we're aligning ourselves with the hidden realms and unseen helpers who are always there anyway, waiting for us to ask. They say we have to ask. And, but then we're busy, you know, busy. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious in the car yesterday, the GPS. We had GPS going and 2 cell phones giving instructions and 4 old people talking over it and not hearing them. I mean, it literally was hilarious. So anyway, it's just funny. So one of the things you have to do with ceremonies is listen. Are you being called to one? And you know, it took David and me 15 years to hear the call. Okay. And then we had to set our intention. Okay, let's get married. Now, why are we getting married? Why? We've been together 14 years. So why are we doing this? Okay, so we got that going. What is our intention? So for both of us, we really wanted to have, it was really interesting. We really wanted to have a wonderful celebration that honored our friends. That's what we wanted. You know, it wasn't so much about us getting married. We wanted it to be about our friends. And then for David was 71 years old last year. He'd never, ever, ever been married. And for some reason, he'd never really gone through being an usher or groomsman. I don't know how he missed all that. I grew up in the South, and we do a lot of that stuff. But somehow he missed that. And I thought, wow, if you're going to wait till you're 71 to get married, let's do something memorable or special. So the prep began, and we were doing that inner and outer aligning with the call and the intention. And as we got deeper into it and had more details and details and details, it was like, oh my gosh, have we bitten off more than we can chew? But we remembered the intention. Nope, we're going to have this amazing day, and we did. And people are going to remember, they're going to point back to that day and say, wow, life not only can be, life is like that, you know? And we had a perfectly blue sky. It was May 6th, you know, who knows what you're going to get. We got married at the gazebo downtown in Paulsville. It was amazing, beautiful 2 days. We had 41 people to dinner on Friday night after the ceremony, and then the next day we had another, 60 people come to a reception, because we have this tiny house. It's about the size of this room, and we couldn't fit everybody in at one time, so we just kind of did a 2-day thing, and it was great. And I really, being a little older, I just thought, boy, I cannot do a wedding and reception and all of that and have it be done. And sometimes you go through that and you feel like you missed it, you know? And I really wanted to be with people, so it was great. So then we wrote the service, and we really thought about what are the words that we're setting loose in sacred space. And again, that helped clarify intentions. And then we had to, one of the parts of ceremonies is to purify ourselves. Purification, inside and out, the garden, the house, the dog, the car, us. I was releasing past marriages. He was releasing reasons he'd never gotten married before. You know, we all had things to do inside and out. We cooked and got ready for the breaking of the bread together, which is a powerful point of a lot of ceremonies. We invited our dear community, and they brought their intentions and their personal power to the circle, which added to the whole thing. And we surrendered over and over again from the moment we decided to get married right up to the last blessing at the ceremony. We just had to keep surrendering to the moment, the experience, allow the shift to happen, and we kept going. So the middle part of the ceremony is the ceremony itself. And we're going to do a little ceremony in just a minute, so I'm not going to go into that too much. But it really lifts us out of ordinary time. And there was a place, the night before we had been at the gazebo with Pat, with her brother and sister, figuring out what we were going to do the next night. And the place was jumping. I mean, there were people everywhere, dogs and little kids and tricycles and people holding hands. It was busy. And they said, well, what about a sound speaker and thing? And I said, no, I don't want to fiddle with that. Everybody speak up. So the next day, there was a place in the ceremony, and David and I both said this later. It was like we looked up, and there was nobody for miles. I mean, clear down past the boathouse. Nobody. And the grass was shimmering. I mean, I really felt like we lifted out of ordinary time. And we had no problem hearing. We were all there. We were all intently there. Rumi says this so beautifully. He says, come out of the circle of time and into the circle of love. Isn't that wonderful? Mm-hmm. We can do that at any moment. Driving down the highway, we can do that. So the ceremony ends with declaring the work done. Amen, and so be it. Hallelujah. We release the energy of the ceremony into working out into the world. I also read in my research that one of the parts of a ceremony that's important, and we seem to do this naturally, is saying, what a wonderful ceremony. You know, that's actually something that you affirm, even if it's a disaster. You know, and that's what you always tell brides. Hey, if it's a disaster, it's your wedding, and it's still you, and it's going to be wonderful. And so, you know, you just affirm that. So in a ceremony, we're not it's not a expectation or demand on the God consciousness to show up, you know. No, we are creating our alignment with the sacred through ceremony. And in the action and intention of that, something is going to happen. And you can count on it, and it's probably going to be good. And that's the power and mystery of conscious ceremony. So, again, simple ceremonies at home, alone, or with friends can be every bit as powerful as when you do the work, of bringing your soul self to them. I do a winter solstice quite often with my astrology students, and if I don't do it, we're all disappointed. And when I do it, we all refer to it all year. Oh yeah, that was my solstice intention. Oh yeah, that's working out. Oh yeah, are we going to do it again? And there's a recognition of each other that we're in that ceremony. Just like I can look out here and see the ones that were over at the memorial yesterday, and I feel that bond with you, you know. We experience something together. So I have 3 recommendations for you, okay? Okay, so I said the simple ceremonies can do as much as a large one. Conversely, the most beautiful, elaborate ceremony in the world won't create a shift in you if you don't show up consciously or half prepared. Like you put all your attention on the presentation and none on the inner work, right? You got to bring them both together. It's the inner and outer alignment. Okay, did I not? No, I'm still here. Okay, so back to my recommendations. 1, I highly recommend that you plan a ceremony. Now I want you to think for just a moment. What area of your life are you called to rise up and light up in? Would you have, now think about this seriously, would you have a ceremony of love or gratitude? Would you have a ceremony of abundance or release? Or honoring a shift in yourself that's already happened? Or would you do a ceremony honoring another person? Just think right there. I know there's a spark lighting up in you just thinking about that. Ooh, I would do that. And I'm calling you forward to do it now. Because based on the last 4 months, things change, and they change fast. So fall into your heart and create a ceremony. And I'm kind of envisioning a summer of ceremonies. Wouldn't that be fun? A summer of ceremonies. Okay, furthermore, this is recommendation 2. When you are invited to a ceremony, prepare yourself. Prepare your inner self to go to that ceremony and approach it with reverence, ready for your big shift. There's no accident you are invited or called to a particular ceremony at this time and place in your life. And this gets a little tricky here. Stay with me. So that you can remember what their ceremony is about in your life. That's we are all one. How we're mirroring and projecting and bringing it back home to ourselves. No accident. And then the 3rd recommendation is imagine approaching Mother's Day, Father's Day, a wedding, a graduation, in this awareness. So Mother's Day, what have you birthed and brought out and nurtured? Can you celebrate that within yourself and honor that in yourself? Father's Day, what have you given structure and form to in a real world sense? Graduation, what are you graduating from? If you've been asked to a graduation, what are you graduating from? Can you own that and bring that back in? Imagine the possibility of transformation available to you at every ceremony you attend, no matter how casual or even specific to your own family. You know, sometimes we can get a little, oh, that's how we always do it in our family. I wish we did another way. You know, no, that's what's precious about your family. Imagine further approaching church every week with this consciousness. preparing to go to the ceremony of church. Because this is a ceremony, right? Wow. Lots of possibility here. Imagine the shift in your life. And all you have to do is by your words, declare yourself ready right now for the leap of faith and hope and joy and fun you want in your life. And by your words, you say, "Let there be light in my consciousness." And voila, the light of consciousness lights up in your world. And by your words, you set loose the vibrations, which are actual physical manifestations that ripple from ordinary time into eternity. By your words. And that, my friends, your words are what unleash the power and mystery of ceremony. God bless us all as we transform ourselves through this awesome, amazing ceremony called life. God bless us all. Okay, so we're going to do just a little ceremony, if you'll join me. So we're going to bridge the two worlds, just in case we haven't completely gotten ourselves there, but isn't that the thing? I mean, listening to Eckhart Tolle this morning, our inner body, our outer body, we give so much attention to the outer body, outer world, and it's that inner body we want to keep feeding, keep staying in touch with. So what I want you to do is just, this is called a consecration of the space. But I want you to put your hand on your heart. I love this. This is one of the simplest things you can do that will join your outer and inner body together. Actually, your head, your mind, and your heart. This is heart math. And just close your eyes a minute, and I am going to read. In the infinite circle of the divine presence, which completely envelops us, we affirm there is only one presence here. It is harmony, which makes all hearts vibrate with happiness and joy. Whoever enters here will feel the vibration of divine harmony. There is only one presence here. It is love. God is love, which envelops all beings in unity. In love, we live, we move, and we exist. Whoever enters here will feel the holy presence of love. There is only one presence here. It is truth. All that exists here, all that is spoken here, all that is thought here is the expression of truth. Whoever enters here will feel the presence of truth. There is only one presence here. It is justice. Every act practiced here is ruled and inspired by justice. Whoever enters here will feel the presence of justice. There is only one presence here. It is the presence of Mother, Father, God, who is goodness and dwells here. Whoever enters here will feel the divine presence of goodness. There is only one presence here. It is the presence of Mother, Father, God, who is the life of all beings, the health of body and mind. Whoever enters here will feel the divine presence of life and health. There is only one presence here. It is the presence of God who is prosperity and makes everything grow and prosper that is carried out in her name. Whoever enters here will feel the divine presence of prosperity and abundance. In the infinite circle of the divine presence, which completely envelops us, we are in harmonious vibration with the universal currents of wisdom, power, and joy. The presence of wisdom, power, and divine joy is deeply felt by all those who enter here. in the perfect communion between our lower self and our higher self, which is Mother, Father, God in us, we consecrate ourselves in this space and time to the perfect expression of all divine qualities which are in us and all beings, the vibrations of our thoughts, the force of God in us establish this place in our hearts as a center of giving and receiving of all that is good, joyful, and prosperous. Amen. And so be it. Thank you.